right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to review theme and what theme is, what it means. Theme is the main message or lesson or the moral of the text that the author wants you to figure out. Let me go to my pepper. The theme can be stated in the text. Fables and myths might tell the theme at the end. The theme can be implied using text clues to figure it out. What happens to the characters? How does the character react? What does the character learn? How do characters grow or change? And you ask yourself, what is the author trying to teach me? So for some examples of some types of themes, don't give up. It's best to tell the truth. More can be achieved by working together. Those are examples of types of theme. A good reader looks for clues in the text that helps you figure out the theme. The theme is like the message of the story. All right, we're going to go to page 179. 179 in your reading book. Reading book, please. 179. Ooh, look, I turned right to the page.
At first I thought it was Michael Jackson, but Smiley Jackson.
Oh. All right, I'm going to read the question to you, and then we're going to reread page 179. So here is the question. Y'all are just getting the answer over here. Y'all can't see that. Let me zoom in. The question is, according to Smiling Jack, what do the neighbors get in return for their kindness? So now we're going to read the text and try to figure out what the neighbors get in return. It says, but then we found a new way to fight back. Pay the rent man and have the world's best party at the same time. How'd you do that, Sonny asked. All neighbors got together and threw themselves a rent party, Smiling Jack said. They baked sweet potato pies, fixed up some catfish and greens, then brought the food to the house where help was needed. They put out a big empty bucket too. I lost my space. And soon someone who knew how to pluck a fine banjo or blow a jazz horn would start playing, making people sing and dance and forget their worries for a while. By the end of the night, people had dropped enough money in the bucket to put the old rent man back in his place. That sounds like a mighty fine idea, Sonny said, but where am I going to find somebody who'll play for Mama and me? Play for poor people he doesn't even know. Smiling Jack faked a frown and tapped his foot. Some people say I play a pretty mean trumpet myself. For the first time in days, Sonny smiled. When Sonny got home, he found Mama sitting near the stove. No luck again today, Sonny, she said, but I'll keep looking. I'll find me that job to keep us going. So according to Smiling Jack, what do the neighbors get in return for their kindness?
Money.
Okay. They're not actually getting the money. The only people who are getting the money is Sonny and Mama. What did the neighbors get?
Just going.
Okay, well, what are they going to? What are they getting?
A party.
They're getting a party. They're getting a night of music and dancing to forget about their own troubles for a while. They're getting a good time. All right, go to page 185. All right, we're gonna look at page 185. It says reread. There's nothing in. All right, so looking at this whole story all together, what is the theme of the selection? What do you think the theme of this selection is?
I think it's not to give up.
Not to give up. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, what else? What's another theme it could be? I definitely think it's don't give up, but it could be other ones too. What about, what did the townspeople all do together to help Mama and Sonny?
They gave them money.
Yeah, they gave money. They worked together. Says the theme that people can overcome obstacles when they work together and don't give up. What is the supporting evidence that supports this answer of not giving up? What from the story helps us to know not to give up?
How they said they kept trying, or not like they kept wanting to like find jobs, and they asked Smile and Jack if they could help them.
Yep. And then what else? What else did they do in the story to help solve that problem that they ran into?
I just like the party.
They threw the party, so they all came. It says the supporting evidence includes that Sonny doesn't give up, and Smiling Jack, his friends, and his neighbors come together to help him solve his problem. All right, so we're gonna listen to the story again. You're gonna have your test on it today. So I'm gonna bring it up so we can listen to it. I'd prefer to listen to it than not. So let me get it up here. If you'll just give me 1 minute, please. Get long. Am I at school? Yeah.
No one else.
No one else. Other teachers, yeah, but not any other students. Yeah. All right, we're gonna listen to the story. Discover, manage, save, discover. Module 3. Rent Party Jazz. My book. Content. Party Jazz. All right. So we're going to listen to the story. So if you have you need to be following along in your book. Okay? All right. Rent Party Jazz by William Miller, illustrated by Charlotte Riley Webb. Hold on. Let's do one page at a time.
Every morning as the sun was coming up,
Alex.
Sonny went to work for the coal man. "I sells my coal 2 bits a sack," the coal man cried out as they drove slowly down the streets of the French Quarter. Sonny wished he were back in his warm bed, but he knew how badly he and Mama needed the extra money. Even though he would spend the rest of the day in school, Sonny started the day like a working man.
I can't hear it.
Sonny's job was to jump down and drag the sacks into the alleys, then shovel the coal down the chutes. He made 10 cents a day, 7 days a week. His mother worked in a fish canning factory. All day long, she packed fancy little fish, earning a penny for each can she filled. When Sonny and the coal man drove through Jackson Square, they would hear trumpet players blowing their horns. The musicians played any tune people wanted to hear, hoping listeners would drop a few coins into their hats. One morning, Sonny came home to find Mama sitting at the kitchen table. She looked like she had been crying. "What's the matter, Mama?" Sonny asked. "Are you sick?" "Worse than sick, Sonny. I've been let go from my job. These are some hard times, and folks aren't buying much fancy fish. Might be 3-4 months before they need these hands again." Sonny's heart sank. Rent day would be coming soon, and the rent man didn't care whether you had a job or not. All he wanted was his money. If they missed paying the rent by just 1 day, the rent man would change the locks and sell off their belongings at a public auction. "I'll get a second job, Mama," Sonny said. "I'll quit." "No, Sonny," Mama interrupted. "I got 2 weeks to find something else. You stay in school and learn everything you can. Everything, so things will be better for you." After school that day, Sonny wandered through the streets of the quarter, tired and sad. There had to be something he could do to help raise the rent money. Auction. An auction is an event where items are sold to the person who offers the most money. In Jackson Square, a huge crowd had gathered around one man playing his horn. Even from the back of the crowd, Sonny could hear how fine the music was. And no wonder the music was so good, so sweet, so clear. Everybody in New Orleans knew about Smilin' Jack. He had played his horn all around the country, even in the great jazz clubs up north. Smilin' Jack looked like the happiest man in the world, blowing his magic horn, collecting bucketfuls of coins. He seemed so happy, Sonny felt even worse about Mama and the rent money. The next day and the next, Sonny found himself back in Jackson Square after school. Smilin' Jack's music was too good to ignore. Sonny always stood toward the front of the crowd, though he still felt too sad and worried to clap or sing along. On the third day, Sonny stayed until the music was over and people began drifting from the square. "Hey, young man, what's your name?" Smilin' Jack asked as he stepped down from the platform. "Sonny Como, sir." "You need a special tune, Sonny? You're looking mighty down. Sure wish I could get those hands clapping." "I love your music, Smilin' Jack," Sonny said, "but a tune won't solve my problems." "Problems? What kind of problems does a boy like you have?" Sonny explained about his mother losing her job, about the rent man who'd put them out on the street if they missed paying the rent. Smilin' Jack suddenly looked serious. "Back in Mississippi, where I come from, they did the same thing to colored folks all the time." Drifting. If you are drifting, you are moving slowly without much direction. But then we found a new way to fight back, pay the rent man, and have the world's best party at the same time. "How'd you do that?" Sonny asked. "All the neighbors got together and threw themselves a rent party," Smilin' Jack said. "They baked sweet potato pies, fixed up some catfish and greens, then brought the food to the house where help was needed. They put out a big empty bucket too, and soon someone who knew how to pluck a fine banjo or blow a jazz horn would start playing, make people sing and dance, and forget their worries for a while. By the end of the night, people had dropped enough money in that bucket to put the old rent man back in his place." That sounds like a mighty fine idea, Sonny said. But where am I going to find somebody who'll play for Mama and me? Play for poor people he doesn't even know? Smiling Jack faked a frown and tapped his foot. Some people say I play a pretty mean trumpet myself. For the first time in days, Sonny smiled. When Sonny got home, he found Mama sitting near the stove. No luck again today, Sonny, she said. But I'll keep looking. I'll find me that job to keep us going. Sonny stirred the coals with a poker, trying to warm the damp room. Maybe you won't need that job right away, Mama, Sonny said. We're going to have a party tonight and raise all the money we need for the rent, every last nickel and dime. Smiling Jack told me how to do it. Don't be talking such foolishness, Sonny, even if you're just trying to cheer me up, Mama said, pulling her shawl tighter around her shoulders. It's not foolishness, Mama, Sonny insisted. I'm going to prove it to you. Sonny knocked on all the neighbors' doors, told them about the party, and asked them to bring whatever food they could spare. He told them to get ready for the best music in the world. They were all going to meet the great Smiling Jack. On his way home, Sonny found an empty bucket in an alley. He put it on the floor just inside the doorway and sat down beside Mama to wait. Mama shook her head, thinking her poor son had just plain lost his mind. Damp. If something is damp, it feels a little wet. Spare. Something you can spare is something extra that you have and that you don't really need. A little while later, Sonny and Mama heard cheering and clapping in the street. Then someone knocked loudly on the door. Mrs. Como, I sure am pleased to meet you, Smiling Jack, trumpet in hand, bowed to Mama. Well, I'll be. I thought my boy had gone full moon crazy, Mama said, hardly believing her eyes. I sure love your music. Smiling Jack, I surely do. Before Mama could say another word, Smiling Jack pulled the bucket toward him, raised his trumpet, and started blowing one of Sonny's favorite songs, Bourbon Street Rag. The house and the street were soon filled with people. There was more food than Sonny had ever seen at one time, enough for everyone who was busy clapping and singing and dancing. All the neighbors had come to the party. Sonny saw the LeBlanc twins running through the crowd, and he saw the oldest woman in the neighborhood, Mrs. Clairvaux, sitting in a chair, tapping along to the music with her cane. Just one thing bothered Sonny at first. He heard only a few coins drop into the bucket, but as the night went on and the party heated up, he heard more and more and more. At last, Smiling Jack stopped playing. Then, without any music, he started singing. When the saints go marching in, the whole crowd joined in, singing the verses, then the beautiful chorus. Sonny felt like he was in another world, a place where the music and the singing he loved would never stop. When everyone had left, the bucket was brimming with coins. Mama counted out the money they needed for the rent and handed the rest to Smiling Jack. I thank you much, Smiling Jack, she said. I took what I need to see us through. This belongs to you. Smiling Jack shook his head. No, ma'am. That money belongs to anybody who needs it for rent or food. I've already been paid. This was the most fun I've had in a long time. Wherever I go from now on, I'm going to play at least one rent party like this. We'll show those rent men how good folks help each other. Sonny walked Smiling Jack back to Jackson Square. Thank you, Sonny Como, for one of the happiest nights of my life, Smiling Jack said. I sure hope to see you the next time I come to town. I know just where to find you now. They shook hands and hugged like old friends. Verses. The verses of a song are the different sections that usually change throughout the song. Chorus. The chorus of a song is the part that is repeated after each verse. Brimming. If something is brimming, it is full and about to overflow. Sonny walked home slowly, wishing the night would never end. He was glad he had listened to Mama. If he had quit school and taken a second job, he would never have met Smiling Jack, never have learned about bringing the neighbors together for a rent party. It made him think about how much people could do for one another if they put their minds and hearts to it. Sonny figured he would stay in school and learn everything in his books and lessons, and maybe, just maybe, he'd learn to play the trumpet too. Beneath the bright glow of the street lamps, Sonny swayed back and forth, pretending he could blow a mean horn.
All right, so that's the story. All right, so you're gonna go into Ed Cloud. You're gonna go into NC Ed Cloud. This right here. You'll log in. Password TRE Student 4. You'll click on Ed right here, and then it'll have your assignments up on your home page on your dashboard. Mine doesn't because I'm not a student, but you will find the Rent Party Jazz comprehension test, and then when you finish with those 5 questions, because it's always 5 questions, I'm gonna post the the vocabulary on Google Classroom right now. I'm gonna post the vocabulary Google form for you to do. Okay? So that's what you're gonna need to do. Find the answers in the back of the book for the vocabulary. There are 11 questions. And then when you're done with that, you can go on to Freckle until 9:25. I will put an assignment up there on Freckle. You can find Freckle through Clever as well. Okay? And then be back here at 9:25 for math. Okay? Capiche? Capiche. Okay. So you're getting on to NC Ed Cloud. Then you're going to go do the Rent Party Jazz quiz test right here. It says Rent Party Jazz comprehension test. You're going to do that right now, and then you're going to go back to Google Classroom, or go to Google Classroom, and I'm going to post the vocabulary quiz up. Okay? Anybody have any questions? Yes, please. Absolutely use your book.
What website are we on now?
You're going to Clever, then you're going to go to NC Ed Cloud, and then you're going to go to Ed, the one that looks like this. Okay? Okay.
It's saying the question is invalid like it always does.
Are you logged into Clever correctly?
It's letting me in Clever.
It lets you in Clever?
Yeah, I'm